So, welcome to part 3 of What If Rick Was Never in a Coma in The Walking Dead. So, let's get into it. The group arrived to the house they originally did in season 3. They get all of the supplies, maybe in a couple of minutes. But after they get the supplies, they don't stay there. They move before the walkers can even get them. The group are on the road thinking what to do. And don't forget, Dale's RV is still here, and Dale is still alive. So that means for a while the group can rest in Dale's RV. Daryl tells the group that him and Merle are gonna go look for supplies, and they tell them to stay on this road. Daryl and Merle find something that they didn't expect to find: a prison. Now, they see that it has walls, it seems safe and stuff. The only problem is there's walkers inside. And that's the only problem. And the group is much more bigger here, so Daryl and Merle return to the group and they inform the group about this. And the group are happy as ever, and they all go to the prison. And this time, they can clear out the whole prison because there's a lot of them. And the group start killing the walkers in the prison. And there's a full-on war going on between the group and the walkers. They're all just killing. Full on. And when all the walkers are cleared out, they go inside, and inside is cleared as well. The group go to the cafeteria, but they find 5 people, and they're prisoners here, and one of them has a gun. Shane is a much calmer person, so just to let you know, he's not gonna kill anyone. And that's when one of the prisoners, Tomas, ends up shooting someone. And he shoots Sophia straight up in the head, killing her. And Daryl, seeing this, he quickly reacts and shoots Tomas in the head with his crossbow. And Tomas is definitely dead. An arrow to the head, yeah, he's definitely dead. Andrew rushes towards Daryl, but he gets shot in the head by Merle. There's 3 prisoners left: Axel and Oscar and Big Tiny. Now these prisoners, they ask if they can join their group because they can't really do anything much. And they beg Rick. And Rick says that they can't trust them right now because their friends just killed one of their own. But they said maybe in the future, because right now they just lost someone and they can't fully trust them just yet. And Axel speaks up for him and his friends. He says they understand, but please don't forget that about this. He's saying don't forget about this to Rick, because he doesn't want him to forget that he can be a part of the group later on. But now the hard part comes. The hard part is explaining to Ed and Carol that Sophia is dead. After Rick tells Ed and Carol about this, he lets them be alone for a little. And we see Otis and Jim being lookout with Dale on Dale's RV. And the scene shifts to a mysterious place, and we see that leader of that place. The leader of that place calls himself the governor. And there's one thing I forgot to mention. That all my other stories, Michonne never meets Andrea, meaning she never meets Woodbury, means I'm gonna make her become a savior again. So, anyways, we see Otis going hunting with Morales, and they actually seem to be getting along very well. But while out hunting, they find a place, and it seems safe and all, and there's people on the walls, but so far they haven't approached them. And a man comes up to them. And he isn't alone. There's a lot of people with him. And they start beating the literal heck out of Morales and Otis. And the governor says to prison them to his guards. And meanwhile at the prison, Lori gives birth to Judith. Thanks to Herschel, because Herschel is a type of medic, so yeah. Glenn and Maggie still try to go get the baby formula for Lori, and since there's no Merle here, because Merle's a part of the group right now, that means they get the baby formula safely. The group notice Otis and Morales aren't back from hunting yet. That means something's went wrong. So Rick says they're gonna make a team of people to go find them. The people who are going are Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and Jim, also Shane, and lastly Merle. And they all look for hours and hours until they find a fence and they see something if you remove the fence, and they see a couple of buildings inside and the group sneak in and they see there's a whole town in there. And they sneak past the guards, and they're not here for any harm. They're just looking if Otis and Morales are here. But the governor finds them snooping around, and he puts his gun on them. And he asks them to leave, and the group reply with something a little different. The group asks calmly if he's seen any two people hunting. The governor says yes, but then the group sees he's reaching for his gun again. And this is it for Daryl. Daryl shoots the governor straight in the eye. And the governor loses his eye, and the whole Woodbury hears the sound. Milton and Martinez are spared, but they're beaten down because they're the governor's top two men, because Merle isn't with the governor. And while the governor sees that everyone is in all war, he decides to escape. He crawls out of Woodbury and he survives and he escapes. Now, I'm not going to be focusing on him for seasons 4 and 3 anymore, because I'm planning to do something a bit different with the governor. Anyways, the others at the prison, they arrive as well, because they haven't seen Rick and the others. They have not come back for a couple hours now. So they were getting worried and they decided to come look for them. And now it's a fair fight, because the whole group's here. And Axel and Oscar and Big Tiny end up finding Morales and Otis, and they free them, and Rick and his group win the war, and they don't leave. Rick sees this as another opportunity to raise Carl and baby Judith, because if you see, Woodbury is the best place that they have seen through the whole outbreak yet. And Rick tells everyone at Woodbury that he's the new leader of this place, and anyone who disagrees and tries to kill him will be executed. Now, the next day, things are calmed down, and there's going to be one thing that's going to be happening in this time, in this episode, and it's going to be a big change for the story. So, Rick and Shane and Lori and Carl, they all go to Rick's hometown, and here's the big change. Rick meets Morgan, but they never know each other because Rick was never in a coma, so Morgan never saved his life. But Shane and Rick, seeing that Morgan's suffering, they both beat him up, and they kind of take all his stuff, and they take him back to Woodbury. So Morgan's gonna be at Woodbury now. Now, this affects the story a lot, because Rick doesn't know Morgan. And the scene shifts to Carol and Ed's house. Ed's abusing Carol again, because Ed blames Carol for Sophia's death when it's clearly not her fault, but Ed is a selfish person, so it's no wonder he'd blame it on Carol. Now Morales starts training his son Louis, he's training him and he's giving him gun training basically. But while that's happening, a couple people arrive at the gates of Woodbury. Well, we know who they are. It's obviously Tyrese, Sasha, Ben, and Alan, but the group don't. The group let them stay because they see that Tyrese is a good guy and stuff. And that will be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed.